today's operational briefing for the Dixie incident for July 21st, 2021. If you can do me a favor and please silence all electronics, turn down your radios, and keep all side conversations outside the briefing area so everybody gets a good briefing this morning. We'll get started with the incident situation update.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Josh Campbell, Night Ops for Team 1. I want to ask a favor of you guys today. Driving around, this is a big incident. It's hard to get around. Our branches and our divisions are having a hard time tying in with everyone. I had the hard time last night as well. So while you're out there driving around, looking at your Avenza maps or whatever you're looking at, look for ridges of opportunity or areas where we can actually sing. It's outpacing us, not the main fire, but the spots are outpacing us, and we need to get out in front of this so we can contain those. Working goes again. Division Alpha, Bravo, Foxtrot, and Mike, all looking really good. It's all tied in pretty well. They're still mopping up. They're finding some rollout along the roads and whatnot, and they're doing good work in there, so keep that up, please. Working up into Division Papa, they had some spots over the line early in the day. Thing kind of stood up on them, and they were able to get in there and capture those spots. But what they did is they just dropped back, not to their original dozer line. They just punched another dozer line in there, gave them their primary, and now they have a secondary. It's working real well for them. Division Quebec, same thing, up in there, trying to put dozer line closer, direct to the fire, so it can give them a little bit more time to secure that outside edge and build a box for themselves. Working up into Romeo, from drop point 101, they decided to come out. They tied into Humbug Summit. They're going across the top. They're about to where the water is right there, and they're still continuing to work across the top and tie into Sierra on the other side. So they're looking for that right now. The fire's edge is pretty accurate, but right up here, the top of the map, we do have fire right along the edge of Butts Valley Reservoir. I was there last night. It's in Section 3, so the main fire will meet that. We did have 2 spots across Butts Valley Reservoir, one right next to the water's edge, and then one closer to Almanor. I'm very doubtful that those are spots from the fire. I think those are holdovers from our lightning the other night, because that's the same area that we had lightning, and we did have fires out of that lightning storm. So working down into Division, you can go up, down, whatever you got to do. Division Union and Whiskey, out there in the wilderness, they're having a little bit of problem because you can't run iron in the wilderness. So where they come to the wilderness edge, they're putting hand line in there, trying to find areas of opportunity to tie that in. They've tied into Bucks Lake down here. They're going to use the edge of Bucks Lake and then take it over to Meadow Valley and then try to find a place they can get up around Twain. End of report.
Thank you. Moving on to the incident objectives, starting with the management objectives. Utilize the risk management process to identify and mitigate hazards to protect firefighters and the public. Emphasize strategies and tactics that have the highest probability of success and the least exposures to firefighters and the public. Deploy strategies to protect life, property, communities, businesses, and infrastructure. Employ tactics that fulfill strategies while being mindful of the necessity for contingency and emergency plans. Thank you. Employ tactics that fulfill these strategies and while being mindful of the necessity for contingency and emergency plans. Ensure strategies account for incident priorities, applying resources to those with the highest consequences first. Follow COVID-19 CDC and establish local, state, and federal guidelines to limit the virus spread within the incident and the surrounding communities near the fire area. Provide timely and continuous incident information to affected agency partners, cooperators, and the public. And maintain fiscal accountability and keep costs commensurate with values at risk. Control objectives. Keep the fire north of Polga Bridge. Keep the fire south of Humboldt Peak. Keep the fire east of Skyway. And keep the fire west of Snake Lake. Fire weather.
Good morning, Julia Risford with Fire Weather. So for today, we're looking at another day with a whole combination of critical fire weather factors that are going to be coming together. Very dry air mass pushed into the area yesterday that lowered the humidities rapidly. They stayed dry last night. Up on the ridges, the recoveries were only 20%, and down in the valleys to about 30%. So starting off the day very dry and expected to get drier this afternoon. At the lower elevations, you're looking at your minimum relative humidities between about 8 and 11%. Up on the ridges, about 12 to 15%. Temperatures are going to continue to be on the warm side. Wind-wise, we're going to see the same sort of pattern we've been seeing day after day after day, but a little breezier. Northeast down canyon winds will last through about 9 or 10 a.m. You'll see upslope lighter winds for an hour or two, and then late morning, early afternoon, the typical southwesterly winds will push in, but I think they're going to be impacting a broader area today. So in general, you'll see wind speeds 14 to 18 miles an hour, gusts up to 25 on the ridges. Those will last through about 2000. You'll see a little time of lighter battling winds, and then the northeast winds coming in at night. Also, we're looking at another day with very unstable conditions down in the valleys. We do have an inversion with some smoke in there. That inversion will lift out around 1100, but up in the ridges, those areas are already in the warmer and drier conditions, so they'll see the effects of the instability earlier in the day. So again, another critical day with the fire weather, hot, dry, windy, and unstable. Have a safe shift.
Up next, fire behavior.
Good morning, Sean Norman. I'm going to give you your fire behavior forecast for today. So the message for today, it's similar to the one I gave yesterday. I want to catch all of you is transitions. Very important that we recognize that transition from the northern Sierra Nevadas more towards the Cascades, and you can see that in your terrain. So the terrain changes from long, big ridges, that north-south spine, to more of a peak with drainages coming off of it. And we see that consistent as the further you move north in the Cascade Range. What that does is change some of our thought process, and it changes our fuels as we go out there. The other thing I want to talk about is a transition out of some burn scar history into some areas that have not had fire in them in a very long time, 50, 60 years. So when we get out, especially into that Quebec area, and we start to move up and around towards, if we end up in Jonesville, not a lot of fire history in there, a lot of old growth, and much higher dead to live component as opposed to live to dead when we look at the CHIPS fire scar and where we were working in the canyon. I want to point out, again, our transitions between the times when we transition from a downslope or down canyon wind to that upslope or up valley or canyon wind. Those are the time periods when that fire will not be held in check by the wind, and it'll have the opportunity to either do a slope reversal or come up out of that drainage where it's been held in check by that wind. That was very evident on the flights that we've been doing and the fire behavior that we've observed, and those time periods are going to be as the inversion sets in and the inversion breaks. So when we transition from that downslope, down canyon wind in the evening, and we get to that point in the morning at 9 to about 11 a.m., that the opportunity for that fire to make that slope reversal, have no wind to hold it in check, and come up out of there. And the same thing in the evening, about that slack time, 2200 to about 0100. When we saw that, absent that gradient type wind, we saw a lot of increased fire behavior. I would say short of extreme, but definitely group torching and some short runs in there. I want to talk about some of the issues we're dealing with on a broad scale. Our fuel moistures came in for the latest poll that we have at the Forest Ranch area, 82% for this unit, 80% is critical in the brush, so you might as well figure that we're there. We also talked about the ERCs at 85. That puts us in the 97th percentile, so a very small fraction of the number of days every year meet that, and typically we would see those numbers in late August, early September, and I would expect to see that type of an ERC post-offshore wind event. I also want to talk about alignment. So we spend a lot of time talking about slope and wind in alignment. I want to draw your attention to something. You don't have a lot of places over here for that to happen. What we have is terrain in alignment. So we have a general wind that's pushing out of the south, southwest, and that's going to give a broad fire front. So what we're forecasting for you today is a very similar condition to what you saw yesterday, and that will stay consistent here on forward until we go to a potential weather change by the weekend. And that's going to be a southwest wind that's going to push that fire. You're going to see flanking fire on the sides here. When it gets alignment in that drainage, it'll run that drainage out and then turn back to a flanking fire. Long range spotting out ahead of it, very receptive fuel bed, especially in the places where we have a lot of dead fuel. The Jarbo wind effect has a lot less impact. As soon as you make that turn and you're getting towards the Greenville Y, that canyon widens out. And the closer you move towards Gray Eagle and up into that, towards that Sierra Valley, you start to lose some of that effect. So while you'll have gusty winds, they will not be as pronounced and dramatic as we see down here. With that, base all your actions today on observed and forecasted fire behavior.
Up next, branch and division operational work assignments.
Good morning, Merrick Fields Operations for IMT1. We're starting to get some progress in here. A lot of hard work's gone on. We got to get out there and continue that. Starting down in Alpha, Bravo, and Alpha, Bravo, Foxtrot, and Mike. We're in that patrol and mop-up status. We need to keep beating on that a little bit more. Moving up into Division Papa, we're starting to transition into that mop-up stage all the way up to the branch break. It's mop-up and patrol. We're shooting for 300 feet of mop-up. Quebec. This bottom end of Quebec's been fighting with us. We got around it, it slopped over. Got around it, we slopped over. We're around it right now. We need to get in there and beat that thing down and put it to bed. But at the same time, we need to come out, get out of those rocks, get into some favorable ground where we can run those dozers out and around and get a secondary line in there. Moving up into the upper end of Quebec from DP 100, we're working on those contingency lines, getting out to the Humbug Road, turning east, heading over towards the Butts Lake and opening up all of the Chips Fire dozer lines. Same thing in Sierra. We're working those Chips Fire lines out there, prepping those indirect lines for firing and tying it down into the Highway 70 corridor. In Union, we're underneath the power lines coming up out of there, prepping those lines, getting them ready, tying into the Bucks Lake, skirting around the edge of the wilderness, and then using the Bucks Fire or the North Complex fire lines coming down into the bottom of Highway 70. Thank you.
A branch and division, a roll call.
Good morning. My name is Ryan Viorino, Resource Unit Leader for CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 1. This is the operational roll call for today's shift. Branches and divisions, please stand, face the back, and loudly state here when you hear your name. Branch 1, Stornetta. Here. Division Alpha Bravo, Height. Sierra Edson. Here. Winkler will be a scratch. We've moved him. Chong Pini Chai, a trainee on a 12. Maine as a deputy. Here. And Railroad, we have M. Stornetta. Here. Lake Almanor, this will be a ride-in Horton. Here. Highway 70, an additional ride-in White. For Branch 5, Costa. Yep. Deputy will be Vance. Yep. Division Foxtrot Mike Jones as a deputy. Yep. And Narat. Yep. Papa Hale. Yep. Moving on to Branch 10, Johnson. Yep. With Troll as a trainee. Yep. For Quebec, Conate. Yep. Deputy Class A on a 12. Romeo Pindell as a deputy. Here. Aragon. Here. Hoban on a 12. Here. And Oaks as a trainee. Here. For West Contingency, I have Norman on a 12. Here. And Guy on a 12. Here. Branch 20, Jerry. Here. And French on a 24. Here. Division Union, Barnhart on a 12. Peralt as a trainee. Here. And Mike Sell. Here. Division Whiskey, I have Hunt. Here. Michael on a 12. Here. And Winkler as a deputy on a 12. That's a write-in. For Bucks Lake, I have Wright. Here. Meadow Valley, Bills. Here. East Contingency Group, I have Kenyon. Edwards on a 12. Here. Miyagishima, trainee on a 12. Here. Thank you. One additional, we also have Ben Riley as Silver Dollar staging.
Here. Air operations.
Good morning. Matt Hill, Air Operations, CAL FIRE Team 1. For fixed wing, today we'll have Air Attack and ASM up early with 3 S2s on deck along with 1 Type 1. For rotor wing, we have 16 Type 1 water droppers. We have 5 Type 2s and then 5 Type 3s. Helibases, we have 2 of them, 1 at Quincy, 1 at Oroville. For MRBs, we have Bucks Lake and Rogers Flat. Make sure you guys are monitoring air-to-ground TAC. Air-to-ground command is for divisions and above. Copter 205, that's 0 Delta Foxtrot, is our 12-hour day hoist, and then Guard A22 is our 24-hour ALS hoist. Make it a safe shift.
Communications.
Good morning, Tom Webb, Communications Unit Leader. We know it's been rough out there on comms. Hopefully today is going to be a better transition day for us, and hopefully it is for you guys. So we've got some new repeaters put up to give us some additional coverage. One on Dyer Mountain, one on Bald Mountain. Colby Mountain's still going to be in play, and Bald Eagle Peak's still going to be in play today. So as you transition this morning, we are transitioning a little bit on our hub system, so there'll be a little bit of wonkiness around the 11 or 12 o'clock hour while we make a couple switches on our existing sites at Bald Eagle and Colby Mountain. But those sites should give us better coverage through the day. So come and get a clone day again this morning. It is a clone day. Unfortunately, it's probably going to be a clone day the next couple days, your next couple shifts, as we try to get things cleaned up as we integrate with the other team. For the state resources, anybody with a state or CAL FIRE load in their radio, you need to select Tone 2 to access our system. So you physically, if you're not getting your radio cloned, your mobile radio, you need to select Tone 2 to access the repeaters and to access any of the NIFC TACs that we're using in the branch 20 area. So you need to do that on any radio that you're using so that you can access those repeater tones and those frequencies. For page 2 of the 205, there's some blank slots that are in that one that was a printing error in the IEP. There are frequencies assigned in that group for the air-to-ground command. Look on page 1 of the 205, it should be on the same channel in your radio for that group. So the air-to-ground command and the air-to-ground tactical are all in group 2 for the branch 20 resources that are over there. You just might have to hunt and peck in your radio a little bit to find it. Have a good shift. If you have any questions, come see us in the comm unit.
Medical.
Good morning, Josh Daly Medical. Please turn to page 34 in your IAP. As you turn to page 34, I want to thank you for all the hard work and paying attention to the information we're giving you. The 206 was completely tested yesterday, the medical plan. We use every component of it, and the only way we're successful in being safe is to follow that box 6, that Dutch Creek protocol. The emergency number to comms is on that box 6, and I need you to pay attention to that if you cannot get out on communications. For the line assignments, the division breakouts will meet with their line medics. We have ambulance 1, which will be at drop point 100. They're all 4x4. The second ambulance, ambulance 2, will be at drop point 2, working that 70 corridor. REMS 1 will be in branch 10. REMS 4 will be in branch 20. It was told by Air Ops that we still have 205 for day BLS hoist, and we have 822 for 24-hour ALS hoist. We have CalMat in camp. They have an MD. We have MERT. They have a PA. They're over by the CDC sleeping, and they all provide COVID testing. Have a safe shift.
Safety.
Good morning, Jesse Winnan, IMT1 Safety. We heard from Fire Behavior Weather about what our fire possibly can do, get up and run on us. Look, LIAISON, situational awareness, heads on swivel, make sure we know where our safety zones, our escape routes are, make sure our safety zones are big enough. IWI reporting, like medical said, box 6 on the 206. Please review it on your breakouts. Go over it. We are handing out the IWI cards. We're making 500 a day. The goal is in a couple days, everybody on this fire has one in their pocket. Communications, we heard from comm. Do your best. They are transitioning. Make sure you guys are cloned. Make sure you guys have the radio, know where the frequencies are. And use human repeaters if needed. On the IWI stuff, if you can't get out on your assigned command, there are other frequencies. The comm is listening to other frequencies that are listed on your 205. COVID, make sure we're following the California Department of Public Health or any other agency guidance. Let's wash our hands, make sure we have personal hygiene, and we all know social distancing, do your best. COVID, We've all been dealing with it for a year and a half. It is still around. There are rocks, rolling material onto the highways. There have been some rock slides. It has closed down some roads. So when you're driving, just watch out for them, and obviously rolling material. And everybody, please have a safe shift. Thank you.
Logistics.
Good morning, Jesse Morris, Logistics. If you could please turn to page 36. This is our service and support schedule for around camp. On page 38 is our CAL FIRE 101 form. This form is used for all items you may have left on the line or have gotten damaged. You'll need a division group soup signature in order to get those out of supply. On page 39 is our vehicle repair checklist. This information is needed prior to calling in communications with any of your mechanical issues that you need to get repaired. On page 47 in your IAP, you'll find our facility map, and these are all the locations around camp for your logistical needs. Have a good day.
Information.
Good morning, Emily Smith, Public Information, CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 1. If you could please join me on page 41, I have an update of acreage and containment for you to write in. Our current acreage on the Dixie incident is 85,479 acres at 15% containment, and we have 3,345 personnel assigned. At the top of the page, you'll see the public information and media line. If you come across the public and or media, please refer them to that line and we can get them set up with what they may need. We also appreciate all of you to continuing to adhere to both the federal and CAL FIRE social media policies. We do appreciate that. And if you have photos or videos that you would like to post, please come by the PIO trailer first so we can vet those. We also have a lost and found set up at the PIO trailer. There's quite a few items coming in, so if you have lost something, please come by and we will get that back to you. And the last item, we are starting to receive mail here at the fairgrounds. The address is below. If you could please put your name and your request number down as well when you have something sent here so we could get that to you. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
Liaison.
Good morning, Nate Armstrong, Liaison Trainee for CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 1. A lot of fresh resources over the last couple of days. If you're a local government resource that has not yet checked in with Cal OES, please do so at your earliest convenience. We do have a daily cooperators meeting right here in this area at 10. If there's any other time that you need to find us, you can find the liaison trailer in the grassy area behind the briefing area any time of the day, and we'll be just immediately to the right of the seating area after briefing. Thank you and have a safe shift.
Law Liaison.
Good morning, Julie Powell, Law Enforcement Liaison Trainee with IMT1. We have established traffic control points at eastbound 70 and Jarbo Gap, westbound 70 at SR 89 Greenville Y, southbound Bucks Lake at Riverdance, northbound Oro Quincy at Four Trees. Evacuation warnings have been issued for Butte County in the Pulga, Philbrook, Butte Meadows, and Inskip areas. Evacuation warnings have also been issued in Plumas County in the communities along the west shore of Lake Almanor to include Prattville, Lake Almanor West, and Canyon Dam. Evacuation orders have been issued in Butte County, in Jonesville, and all of the High Lakes areas. Evacuation orders have been issued in Plumas County, in the High Lakes area, Story, Tobin, Rock Creek, Belden, Rich Bar, Virgilia, Twain, Meadow Valley, Bucks Lake, Caribou, Paxton, Seneca, Long Valley, and East Buck Lake. Operations, safety, and liaisons continue vetting entrants into the fire area in extreme scenarios, so just know that there is potential, although rare, that other vehicles will be in there, so use caution. We know you're working long hours, conditions are not ideal, there is debris in the roadway, there have been several rock slides. Caltrans will be in the area today clearing rocks, so use caution. Drive safe and remain alert. Thank you.
Agency Administrator.
Good morning again. Scott Tangenberg, Agency Administrator for the Forest Service. That's the Lassen and the Plumas National Forest. You just heard a big, long list of information, including a lot of different things involving hazards that are out there exposing your crew to things that we don't want you to be exposed to. But you're here, you're fighting this fire, you're trying to take care of both our communities, our resources, but you're also out here trying to take care of yourselves. That's absolutely the most important thing. That's the thing we want you to remain focused on. And as long as you're doing that and coming home at the end of the day, you're having a successful shift. Thank you so much for being here. Take care of yourselves.
And final comments from our Unified Incident Commander.
Hey, good morning. George Huang, Deputy Incident Commander for CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 1, along with one of the Unified ICs. We have a lot of resources. We have a lot of communities being threatened still. We have a lot of evacuations in progress. With all the resources that are here, remember, we're here for the community. PIO message is huge. 85,000 acres, 15% containment. Make sure you guys are passing on the same message that we as a team, along with the California Incident Interagency IMT2 coming in, we want to make sure the message is being passed equivalent across the board. Make sure you guys pay attention to the message. We keep talking about Dutch Creek. Some of you understand that protocol, some of you do not. Pay attention to that. Andy Palmer was a fatality on Dutch Creek, and that's coming up on July 25th, 2008, around the same time. Time frames is very important. Yesterday we had a very successful rescue on Division Papa. Time, location, from the time medical unit leader, safety officer, everybody came in place. We had a successful hoist within an hour. That is called, I commend these guys for that successful rescue. 85,000 acres. Get out there, boots on the ground, continue to work hard, and have a great day.
Thank you. Okay, if you are not on the IAP, please go back and see unassigned resources. Please don't start moving until I figure out where you guys are going for your breakouts. To my left, your right, Alpha Bravo, Sierra, Railroad Group, El Manor, Highway 70, Foxtrot Mike, Division Papa, and Quebec. My right, your left, Romeo, Bucks Lake, Whiskey, Meadow Valley, East Contingency, Staging, and unassigned resources in the back. Have a safe shift, turn on your radios and your phones.